So let's get to it. First, we want to take a look at Microsoft. Shares are ticking lower here this morning. You're looking at losses of just about 0.1%. The move lower coming on the heels of a downgrade. We've got the analyst behind that call downgrading Microsoft today, saying that competition in the AI space is catching up to Microsoft's lead. Here to discuss that and more, I want to bring in Gil Luria. He is D.A. Davidson's managing director. And Gil, it's great to have you here. Clearly, it's having an impact here on the stock in early trading. I'm curious, just why do you see Microsoft's AI lead diminishing?
Well, they had a big head start because they were involved with OpenAI for a long time. They knew ChatGPT was coming before everybody else. They knew that they were going to commercialize it. So about 1.5 years ago, they came out with a whole set of commercial products around AI that gave them a big lead over Amazon and Google, who were both caught flat-footed. Since then, Amazon and Google, AWS and GCP respectively, have invested in catching up to Microsoft. And we think that you can start telling that they've caught up, both in terms of the results they've reported and the conversations we're having with industry participants tell us that their capabilities are now comparable to Azure's, thus diminishing the lead. Going forward, we think AWS and GCP actually have an advantage over Azure because they have the capability to deploy their own chips into their data centers, which are a fraction of the cost of an Nvidia GPU, something that Microsoft has yet to do with its own chips.
So Gil, does that mean that the chips race is the forefront of this debate between which tech firm is going to come out on top versus which large language model is going to become most useful to everyday consumers? Obviously, Microsoft is attached to OpenAI and ChatGPT, but a lot of analysts have argued that Amazon is behind when it comes to its own LLM.
So both fronts are very important. And Amazon's approach is that they don't have their own LLM. They don't depend on their own LLM. They've created a system where you can work with any one of the frontier models, whether Anthropic, Mistral, Meta's Llama, and therefore they just support the rest of the ecosystem. That's what their customers want. And their customers don't want to be locked into one technology in one frontier model. And so that works for them. They don't have to have a model as advanced as OpenAI in order to be able to serve their customers, which is what's really key here. 1.5 years ago, their customers were going to Azure to get AI tools. Now they don't need to. They can keep their customers and provide them with whatever those customers need.
So then, Gil, how reliant is Microsoft then on a name like Nvidia? I guess we were trying to figure out just the importance there and exactly what that means for some of that momentum going forward.
Well, that's exactly it. Microsoft is so reliant on Nvidia that it's almost transferring wealth from its own shareholders to Nvidia's shareholders. Their overinvestment right now creates a point of margin headwind every year they overinvest, meaning Microsoft has to lay off 10,000 people just to keep its margins flat because of how much it's overinvesting in building this infrastructure using the most expensive chips, which are Nvidia GPUs.
And given that too, I'm curious how much, and you talk about this a little bit in your note, how much the growth of a company like Microsoft is really just a bullish signal for Nvidia. Should investors be kind of switching their mental framework in that direction?
Well, I'd say we're just at a point where they can't both win. Either Microsoft continues to overinvest in Nvidia GPUs, in which case Nvidia wins, but Microsoft has diminishing margins, or it slows down that rate of investment, which would also encourage other participants to slow down their rate of investment.
But Gil, really quickly here, just because so much of the revenue for Nvidia, I think it's 40%, comes from 4 of those hyperscaler names. So given that, wouldn't the success of a name like Microsoft be tied to more success for Nvidia and vice versa?
Well, the success of AI depends on what applications we have and how quickly these models develop. If they continue to develop, both will win to some extent. It's just that Nvidia is going to continue to take more and more value out of Microsoft if Microsoft continues to overinvest. But right now, Amazon and Google are just in a better position because they can also rely on their own chips, which cost a lot less.
Gil, what would it take then for you to be bullish once again on Microsoft. Any future investments, anything that you want to hear from executives in the coming quarters that you think is going to then turn the momentum back into Microsoft's favor, or because they're already lagging behind maybe on their own chips, it's something that is going to take time then to catch up from here?
Actually, it would be the cooling down of investment. If they go back to a steady state of investment and expand data centers, but not at this exponential rate, that would take away that margin headwind and position Microsoft for much faster earnings growth. Right now, they're all in a big arms race that's well ahead of the return on investment that should come from this investment. And so if Microsoft actually cools off its investment, margins will grow and they won't really sacrifice any revenue growth.
All right, Gil Luria, really appreciate you joining us. I know it's early in the morning for you, so thank you so much for popping on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.